Welcome back, everybody, to a new live session. 3 days in a row, sticking to my idea, being more consistent once again with live streaming, and also giving you guys the opportunity to see the gradual, what do you call it, depreciation of my rates? Deterioration, I would say. That's more accurate. You guys know the drill. Shelly, thank you so much. Good to see you again. I appreciate that. Ask me anything. Um, Yesterday's live was really good. I also want to give a shout out to all the people watching these delayed. The vast majority actually doesn't get to watch these live, so just know I'm very aware of you guys watching these later on, and I do appreciate that. And when I look back at like when I watched my live sessions back, then something I always have in mind is also like Lorenzo, ahora from Pereira, Colombia. What's up, Rafa? Un abrazo grande para mi gente de Pereira. Me encantaba Pereira cuando estaba visitando. Pereira is a very underrated part of Colombia. It's like nobody ever really talks about going there. It is actually one of the better parts, and has not been invaded by tourism yet, I would say. So I was saying, anytime that I watch these lives back, something that stands out is that usually it takes a while for me to get to some type of real topic as people are still coming in. And, you know, obviously it takes some time just for the live to get started. So I would love for any one of you to ask me like a good question straight out the gate right now, something for me to sink my non-existing bottom teeth in, and just to like immediately like launch this live session and get off to a great start. I see we already got 10 people in here. That makes me very happy. Don't be shy, guys. The whole premise of the live is that you get to interact with me, you get to have a direct line of communication towards me, and yeah, that's all I can really say. Also, please hit the thumb up, any of you. That does make a big difference for the YouTube algorithm. Yes, any topic. That's what I'm saying. Because I don't want to start off every live talking about the last gym session I had, obviously. But you guys know I can talk about that for days. Probably not the best posture for me to be in, but it is something. You guys ever think about that? Like, what's your go-to posture when you're sitting down somewhere? Like, this is mine. Like, I just love to have my forearms on my knees and just like hunched over, just the most comfortable. Igor Dessa, hello from Brazil. Big fan here. Thank you so much, Igor. I appreciate it. Obrigado. Shout out to Brazil, man. That's the craziest thing about YouTube, right? Like, it's literal magic. Like, you can just, any person, no matter, you don't have to be a big corporation or you don't have to be somebody really famous. Like, you can just create your own platform. You can broadcast. People can just tune in, and people from Brazil are watching a Belgian talk live in Mexico City. It's crazy when you like. I feel like most of us still don't have enough appreciation, like for in the time that we're living in, and just what's possible. Shout out South Carolina. All right, guys, we're 5 minutes in. Let's get some questions going. Let's not all come in and say hi. Like, it's kind of boring. I'm thinking about the people that want to watch these back. So any topic, let's get it cracking. Let's apply some urgency. Because if you don't ask the question, I'm literally just gonna sit here. Okay, finally, wife from da, da, da. Would you consider it a failure in life if you don't ever get married or have kids? Whoa, that is such a good question. Damn, I love that. Thank you, thank you. That's gonna be the title of this video. Literally, I'm already gonna copy and paste this right now. Wait, and then I'm gonna answer it. This is literally gonna be the whole video. And the reason why is because this is something that has been greatly on my mind lately. Like ever since my brother and my sister both have had two kids, it has become increasingly clear that I love kids and I want to have my own kids. But aside from that, this is a topic I've been thinking about so much. And the thing is, I'm gonna try to explain how my mind and how my brain works. Like the way my thoughts work and the way I look at life, it's kind of like an Excel sheet, like an Excel file. And I'm always just kind of looking at life, trying to look from a rational and logical angle and like a timeline. And I'm always thinking like, how can I maximize the era for me personally that I'm in right now? And when I say era, I'm talking about teenage years, 20s, 30s. Those are eras, or. So I quickly learned, when I was 18, 19, 20, I was all about just like having fun and going out, and it was just about girls and, you know, nothing nothing too crazy. Like you just want to break free from home and figure out who you are. Like I feel like your true formative years are like 19, 20, 20, 21. Like that's when you finally get to kind of decide who you want to be because you're no longer so connected to your parents and you get to make your own decisions. And what I found is it's that, and mind you guys, like this is all the things that I came up. Like I spent so much time in hospital beds. I've spent so much time just having to wait and undergoing surgeries and recovering from surgeries and undergoing treatment, undergoing chemos and recovering from those. So like I've had so much time to think about this. So this is like you're really asking me about the essence of my life's work. It's not something tangible, it's something very intangible because it's just like my philosophy. But what I found is that because I was sick for such a long time and because I was receiving I was receiving an income, but I didn't have to go to a job, so I had the liberty and the freedom to travel, and I had the opportunity. People always think that that's what they would like no financial stress and all the time in the world to do what they want. I had that, okay? Maybe not in the ideal circumstances since I still had like a huge facial scar and I had certain things holding me back physically and medically, but I had that. Um, and it really allowed me to experience what most people will never have the opportunity to experience, but what most people think they would consider to be you know what most people would consider to be the perfect life. All the time in the world, no kids, nothing tying you down, and enough money to travel. Right. So I had that in my 20s and early 30s, and Jim Carrey once famously said, I wish every single person on planet Earth could be a multimillionaire for at least a year just so they could find out that it doesn't solve anything. And what I found is ended up being very close to that statement. So I was in the Dominican Republic just driving around, having the opportunity to do whatever, whenever. I was in Colombia for 3 months. I was in Rio de Janeiro All these amazing. I was in Los Angeles for 4 months with nothing to do besides the things that I wanted to do. And if I could kind of bring all of those experience into one statement, it would be that the world is vastly overrated. I've always said that, well, at least in the last couple of years, that the world is very much overrated. When you have a job, when you have kids, when you have places to be, and when you only always have 2 days a week in which you get to have your free time, unfortunately, you're never going to get to find out. Because what ends up happening is people have 5 days in which they basically can't do what they want. And when they do get off at work, they're just too fatigued to do anything. And then they have 2 days a weekend. And then it's only natural. People begin to assume and feel as if, like, if they were to have a year off with money coming in, so no financial stress, they subconsciously project that year of time off as if it would be one long weekend, right? But that could not be further from the truth. The reason why the weekend is always so enjoyable and so much fun is because it is so finite. It's so short and it's over before you know it, right? And also because the weekend is the time that the entire society gets to have time off. That's when all the fun stuff happens. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Those are the party days. Those are the days that you go and play your football match or basketball game. That's when you're doing all these super fun things. And before you know it, it's over. You got to get back to work. Like, you never get to have enough of that to get to the point where you're like, okay, what's next? Because you can only do so much in 48 hours. You can only, you're gonna take a walk in the park. You're gonna have coffee with a friend. You're gonna play some type of recreational sports game. You're gonna go out. You're gonna have a dinner. You're gonna, and that'll be it. Weekend's done. The thing is, the fact of the matter is, I truly believe most people would not be able to handle complete freedom and opportunity because it takes a whole lot of self discipline. It takes a whole lot of structure and routine to be able to spend that Monday, that Tuesday, that Wednesday, and that Friday in a productive manner. I understand this statement might ruffle some feathers, but it's not that hard, or I should say, if you have a boss, like, and even if you have your own business, you still have a boss. Your customers are your boss. So, not even literally, but if you have a boss or an entity applying pressure and holding you accountable, then it's kind of easy to stick to a routine and stick to a flow. But what if you don't have that? What if you could hypothetically decide to just stay in bed all day and no one wouldn't care? That's the position I was in, right? Then it's on you. The only reason there is to get up in the morning is you and your own self-discipline and your own need for wanting to make something of your life. Now, it pains me to say most people, they don't have that. They need an external force to apply pressure in some type of manner for them to get moving. A lot of people are just inherently not that self-motivated by design. They'll just revert to taking the easy way out, which is, chill, take it easy, because they don't have that internal fire, that drive, right? And then subsequently, if you would give people too much free time, they'll get depressed because they'll soon find out. And that's what I found when and I spent my time doing the most enjoyable things you can imagine. Like, I was literally traveling in the Caribbean, traveling in Colombia, traveling, living in LA, right? Living in Barcelona for 5 years. Like, Barcelona is literally the most fun city in the world. And even Barcelona, I can guarantee you, on a Tuesday in March, I repeat, even Barcelona on a Tuesday in March at 2:15 p.m. in the afternoon, what the hell are you gonna do? Like, literally, what are you? You've already done all the tourist stuff the minute you got to Barcelona, right? So now you're in Barcelona, 2:15 on a Sunday. You got 4 more hours to go before the day starts winding down, and the evening and the night starts like creeping up, so you have an excuse to chill, right? It's the day. It's 2:15 on a Tuesday. The whole world is working. Everybody's in their office or doing something productive. Kids are in school. Young people are studying. Adults are working. What are you doing on 2:15 in Barcelona on a Tuesday? 2:15 p.m. And that's why I say the world is overrated. You can only see so many pristine, crystal white beaches before it's boring as hell. You can only see so many Gaudi buildings, so much art, so much museums, so much culture before it's like, so many ancient temples, pyramids, whatever. It all gets boring. And I say 2:15 p.m. on a Tuesday because most people are still able to do their, like, when you wake up, you get that caffeine, that initial caffeine boost, and most people, not all, still get busy in the morning, and they still get like they get going. But what are like they go to the gym, or they go do groceries, or at least take a good breakfast or something. They do yoga. Like most people are still able to productively fill in their morning. But what are you gonna do at 2:15 p.m. in Barcelona, motherfucker? And that's what I had to figure out. That's how I had to find meaning through this, through YouTube, through creating content. For example, obviously now I'm also working full time. So also because it just, you need purpose in life. You need, and I promise you, the question about the kids, I'm getting to my point. You need someone to rely on you in life, someone or something. So if you're a business owner, the business is your baby. I don't think you necessarily need kids. If you have like a successful up and running business that needs a lot of your time, I get that. But my point is, and there's only so much hedonism that you can indulge in. There's only so many parties, so many drinks, so many joints that you can smoke before that too will get very boring. So much sex you can have, that too will get boring. I promise you that. I promise you that. I know if you're not getting those things, it may seem impossible. It's like you're telling a poor person, like, I promise you, getting rich will bore you. And they're like, get the fuck out of here. I promise you it will. I happen to know, uh, I happen to know 5 millionaires personally. Don't get me wrong. I'm not rich, not even close. All right. But I know at least 5 millionaires personally. I have a personal relationship with them. I'll be nice and say they don't have the most interesting life. Let me put it like that. And they're not the happiest people. The money doesn't solve anything. If anything, it just highlights your lack of purpose, your lack of goals in life. It's boring as hell. All right. Anyway, so circling back to your initial question about wanting to have kids. By the way, guys, hit the thumbs up. We only got 10 thumbs. You got 16 people. That don't add up. So next thing you motherfuckers are a little bit stingy with that thumb. It don't cost a thing, man. Anyway, I found that 20s are teenage years are to learn about the world, to study, basic development, sports, education, becoming an adult. 20s are to really, indulge in all the things you want to indulge in, to unleash your ambition on the world, ambition in any type, shape, or form. Ambition to get laid, ambition to get money, ambition to travel, ambition to get social media likes, ambition, whatever, to climb the social ladder. That's what your 20s are for. Now enter your 30s. This is where it gets interesting. And this is what I'm always watching people around me. Everywhere I go, I'm watching people. I'm like, how old are you? What are you doing? And I found that most people in their 30s, If you think your 30s are still for partying and traveling and hedonism and chasing thrills, I don't want to judge, but I kind of feel like you haven't learned that much from your 20s and you've kind of missed the plot. 30s is the time to get your shit together. You do not have more time. Fuck what Gary Vaynerchuk says. His whole thing about it's never too late, that's nonsense. That's nonsense. If you haven't figured it out in your 30s, I got bad news. It's gonna be rough. Because you're competing with people that have much more energy than you, much more youth, much more enthusiasm and ambition. Like it's gonna be rough. Not saying it's impossible, but it damn sure ain't likely. It damn sure ain't likely. So that brings me to my next point. When you're in your 30s and you haven't found that specific goal, that business or that career or that sport or whatever it may be. The fact of the matter is, and I know a lot of people are not going to want to hear this, the fact of the matter is that you're going to find you'll revert to the OG plan, the plan that has been instilled in us since birth. The one thing, if you want to talk about meaning of life, the one true objective meaning of life, which is to procreate, which is to put a child into this world, raise it with the right values, the right norms, the right moral compass, and instill all the stuff that you learned into that child, thus reshaping and changing the world through your upbringing of that child. And I don't think there's many greater purposes in life. And I know I may sound crazy, but I'm not even, and that may sound emotional, but that's actually what I have. That's what I ended up with after 15 years of logical and rational observation and thinking. Again, there's caveats. Like if you have like certain businesses that you're running or like you found your thing, then I don't, then that's it. That's your thing. If you haven't found that in your 30s, and the thing is, most people do exactly this. And I'm just saying, like they're kind of like they have all these hopes and dreams and ambitions, and then hey, guess what? It didn't pan out, and then subconsciously they revert to the original, the OG purpose, which is make a baby, make a human, and don't let all your knowledge that you've gained along the way go to waste. Now, you know what's fucked up about society is that most people, the people that think less, the people that don't think that much, that don't practice introspection, that don't practice observation, those tend to be the ones that usually make babies way quicker. Those are people that tend to make babies at 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. There's no single reason you should have a kid at 20 or at 21 or at 22 for that matter. I'm sorry. You do not have enough experience of life yourself to be ready to instill that into another human. And I know people are going to get angry, and there may be exceptions, but what are you going to teach that kid? You've only been an adult for like 3 years at that point, if even. I don't even consider any 19-year-old an adult, any 20-year-old an adult. People don't reach adulthood until like 25, and that's still early. Most still don't get there until 30. Most people are not adults until 30. They don't understand what it means to be selfless, to have empathy, to really think things through before 30. I'll give you that most women are quicker than men. That is a real thing. That's not a myth. You have no business making a kid at 20. So my point is, you're asking me, um, do I will I have failed if I don't? If well, let me reread the question. Will you consider it a failure in life if you never get married or have kids? I could play devil's advocate to kind of make the case for myself that I've put all of my thoughts and ideas and philosophy out here on this YouTube channel as some sort of digital video library. So I guess I've already reached enough people with my observations and conclusions to say that I don't necessarily have to instill all of that knowledge into a child. But I would be lying if I told you that um, yeah, failure is such a strong word, but I do want a child, and I would feel like I somehow I didn't come full circle if I did not have a kid. Also, because like, what the hell am I gonna do the next 50 years? Like, there's only so much traveling and gym and YouTube you can do before it also gets like just stale, like in terms of having a greater purpose. So. Um, I think, I think, yeah. I guess my if I had if I would make it a yes or no type of answer, my answer would be yes. I would consider it a failure. Marriage? No, I don't care about marriage. Marriage is just some ancient like it's something that you don't have to be married to someone to be loyal to them or to be with them for the rest of your life. Like, and hey, guess what? I got news for you. Marriage doesn't mean a damn thing as it pertains to guarantees of sticking together. People get divorced all the time. Like, it's like marriage is, again, I'm not saying I don't want to get married. It's just a fun thing to do. That's all it is. Let's not make it bigger than what it is. That is what marriage is. All right. That was quite a rant. Let me catch up on the comments. Your new Instapics are fire. Thank you. Um, I'm gonna AD Jack. I'm gonna read your question in a bit. True, very true, true. Actually, you need a sense of achievement, not just in the moment joy, to be happy. Humans are driven and want to grow. It's why millionaires become depressed after they have it all. They stop progressing. Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. Agreed. Believe me, it's not as fun as people think. I've been able to retire since 50. My husband is 18 years older. Of course, he likes staying home. Yeah. Whoa, sex, boring. Hello, no. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying sex, the act in itself is boring. I'm saying if you have sex every day, yes, it gets very boring, especially if it's with the same person over and over. And if you disagree, I'm gonna have to assume you haven't had that much sex yet. I've had a bunch of sex in my life. I'm not saying this in a way to boast. If there's one regret, I wish I would have slept with half of the people I slept with. I was a horny little dog, little greaseball in my 20s, early 20s especially. Um, yeah, sex is not that big of a deal, and it doesn't make you happy, and there is no satisfaction at the end of that road. By the way, guys, what's up with these thumbs? Let's get some thumbs going. We need at least 20 thumbs in the next minute. I know at least 6 of you haven't hit the thumb yet. Stiggy, I'm going to read your question in a bit. Caster, I'm in my 30s. I still go to parties and travel. I'm just more responsible now, and I'm straight edge. Well, that's a big, I mean, so am I. I'm still going to parties. I'm 35. I'm still traveling, clearly, too. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, if that's your only thing, clearly it's not for you nor for me. I was 19 when I had my daughter. I was a foster child for years. I was always there for my daughter. I mean, that's I'm sure you're a great mother, but I'm also sure that you had a really hard time figuring out how to raise a kid while turning into an adult yourself. And I'm sure you probably would have done some things differently had you had that kid at 29 instead of 19. That's not to say that you're not a great person or a great mom and that you didn't try your best. Reverse thought is having that kid at 35 and being 55 when your kid is 20. Deep to that. Dude, how do you think I'm going to look when I'm 55? Plot twist. I'm gonna be in amazing shape. Like, see, this is this idea that you have to be like, oh my god, like I'm 55, like no, man. Like if you go to the gym, if you take care of your diet, if you don't indulge in alcohol and drugs, if you have a good sleeping pattern, I promise you, I'm gonna be shredded at 55. I'm gonna be in amazing shape. I promise you that. Knock on wood, I don't get run over by a car or get another cancer or anything. I'm gonna be 55 looking better than most 35-year-olds. I promise you that. I promise you that. I'm 35 right now. There's 20-year-old kids back in my hometown that I've known since I was born. Well, a little bit later. They look older than me. 28. I'm 35, 7 years older. They look way older than me. My daughter is 27 and coming into her own. As I grow older, I don't want to have material things as much. I don't mind having children. I haven't found someone I won't want to be half with the kids. I'm probably gonna adopt. Good. Lust turns into love, but the lust is very fun. I would push back and say lust sometimes turns into love, but lust more often turns into just boredom and like being uninterested. Gabster. 55, you can still be in amazing shape in every type of, no matter how you want to look at it, if you just take care of yourself. All right, now I'm going to read some more questions. AB Jack, when you decided to move to Mexico, was it a long decision or just a spur of the moment thing, or you just knew it was the right thing to do? No. So after Katya and me broke up, um, I was like, okay, because my whole plan was Katya and growing old together and having kids and even just like living in Belgium. So the whole plan fell apart, and I was like, I need to regroup and I need time because I need to. I'm running out of time, so my next jump has to be a good jump. So I didn't want to do something spontaneous. I wanted to really do my research, figure out what I wanted, and that's how I figured out. Okay, I want to. I'm 34. I was 34 at the time. I don't have many more jumps in me, and I always know I'm gonna go back to Belgium to live there permanently in the end. I don't want to move to another country again when I'm 45. So I realized like the window on me having the opportunity. Also like I want to have kids at some point. So at some point, like once you have kids, you're done doing crazy adventures, like moving to other countries. So I realized my window is closing. My window to do some crazy foreign adventure is closing. So let me prioritize that now, because all those other things are still going to be there later. Many things that you can do in your 30s, you can still do in your 40s. Going to live in Mexico City by yourself is probably not one of them if you're interested in starting a family and settling down at some point. So that's how I came to the conclusion that I wanted to do one last final dance in the form of a foreign adventure. Then I was like, where do I want to go? I already had my Spanish background due to Barcelona, and I was like, I don't want to learn another language again. I'm not motivated. So all I want to do is perfect my Spanish. So it had to be a Spanish-speaking country. I don't like Spain at all. Besides Barcelona, I really don't vibe with Spain as a country or the people. Just being honest. So Spain wasn't really an option. And then I was looking at South America, and just there's no country there that appealed to me. Safety wise, also just too far. Um, yeah, there wasn't a country in South America that really spoke to me. And that's when I ended up at some point. I was looking towards Central America and stuff like that. And Costa Rica was getting a lot of hype. So at some point, I was like, okay, let me go check out Costa Rica. And I documented that. I made videos of Costa Rica. And looking at that trip, I couldn't find a cheap flight to fly from San Jose, the capital of Costa Rica, back to Belgium. So I was kind of forced to look for alternatives in terms of stops. So I was like, let me do 3 weeks to Costa Rica and then add um, a little like mini stop on the tail end just to like add a bonus experience on top of my Costa Rica experience. And I had been doing a lot of research, and I saw a lot of people talk about Mexico City. And I got to be honest, Mexico was never on my radar. It was never something that interested me. But I was like, hey, if all these people are talking good about it, I could at least spend 5 days there. So I went to Costa Rica to check it out to see if it could be a viable option for me to move and live. And it basically took me 2.5 days to figure out Costa Rica is just a basic, like, it's not a real place. It's like a tropical paradise where you go to have a vacation, or you go to have a honeymoon, where you go to backpack and escape reality. It's not a place to start an actual normal life as a Westerner, Jesus, like me. Um, it's, don't get me wrong, it's an amazing place, but it's a place to go on vacation. So I had a good time, I had fun, but after 3 weeks, I was definitely over it. Like, okay, enough beautiful jungle and beaches. Like, I've had it. And then I went to Mexico City, not really thinking anything of it. And when I got here, I was just like, what the hell? Like, I was so shocked. Like, I had no idea what it was, and to see what it was and how safe it felt in the center and the good areas, and the fact that there's not a lot of tourism here, especially like having lived in Barcelona, I was just like, damn. And so I had been planning for 2 years to make a jump. I was pretty depressed. Like, you guys can go check out the videos I did. I did a series called August Reset. I know the OGs for another those are still up there. August Reset, and those were my most miserable times. Like, I was flat out depressed. I was like in shambles. But throughout that depression, the lesson that I learned was, the next big opportunity that arises, you better fucking jump. You better be ready to jump. So I was ready to jump. So when I went to Mexico City and I liked it, I remember being on the Uber ride on the way to the airport and thinking, man, I think this is it. It just felt right. It felt like the place for me to be. Um, Took a 12-hour flight home to Amsterdam, which is not home. I'm just saying that's close to Belgium. My dad picked me up. I came home, and the first thing I did, I opened my laptop and I googled Dutch speaking job in Mexico City, because I knew my only competitive advantage was me speaking the Dutch language. So I knew that had to be the angle that I had to use to to find a job, because why else would they hire me? By the way, guys, if you're enjoying this live, please hit the thumb up. It's not a big effort. Also, feel free to click on the $ below the chat box and buy me a coffee if you like these lives. The more support I get, the more often I'll do these. So I put in, literally, like, guys, I'm not making this up or exaggerating. I came home, I threw my backpack into a corner, and I opened my laptop. That's the first thing I did before taking a shower, because I was like, I see so clear now, and I felt like things were aligning. I felt like it felt right, and I kind of had a feeling that if I was gonna do that specific search, that query into the Google search bar, something was going to happen. And so I did that, and literally the first hit on Google, the first result that showed up, that job listing I applied for, and that ended up being the job that I'm doing today. They contacted me 2 weeks later. I went through, I believe, 4 or 5 rounds of interviews, and they told me, you got the job. Only thing is, we need you here in 10 days to start in Mexico City. And I was like, dang, you got it. I'm ready. Because I had been depressed and waiting for 2 years. I was ready for the opportunity. I'd spent enough time being alone, sobbing, smoking joints in my apartment that me and Katya used to share, and just what am I gonna do? I was hibernating hibernating like a fucking grizzly bear, just waiting on a shot. And I saw my shot and I took it. And I told my parents, and they thought I was crazy because obviously they hadn't been prepared for that. Like their mindset, their mind wasn't where my mind was. So I jumped, I went, I did, and voila! Today I'm here in Mexico City, baby. So yeah, I think this is going to be the best live session I've done in like 5 years, just by the quality of your questions, guys. So I appreciate you, live from my point of view, and I appreciate you, 80 Jack. Okay, let's see. Stiggy. Big boy Benzo. Are the local senoritas able to leave you be, or are we referring to you as Papa Benzo in due time? Huh. So in November last year, things got pretty wild. So I got here in April. So uh, April, May, June, July, August, zero, almost no action. I met one girl, but basically didn't get laid in 5 months. I was like, damn, thought it was going to be a little bit easy, but I guess the scar is still off-putting to a lot of people. Maybe my vibe, my energy wasn't right. And then just like I went to Puerto Escondido. It's funny. Right around the time I started uploading videos again, like the video that reintroduced me to YouTube was a video I did in Puerto Escondido called where I met this super beautiful girl on the beach, and I put her in the thumbnail. And the video was called um, it was called "It's Not Over Yet," and just the fact that I was able to cold approach her and have her like interested in me for at least a little bit, that just kind of like resparks my energy, and it lit a fire in terms of confidence and just like self assurance. And I just cracked the code. It was just like I was fucking Einstein in there, man. Like and I cracked it. And I remember coming back to Mexico City, and I was like, yeah, I'm back. It's gonna be different this time around. I'm back. I just had a I just had it. When you have it, you know you have it. It's the same in sports. You can tell when an athlete has it, when he's in a certain flow, when all things line up. Like mind you, at that point I had been killing myself in the gym for the past 5 months. I was in ridiculous shape. And I was ready. And then I finally cracked that code, and I came back to Mexico City, like rejuvenated, and I had the most. That was the craziest like 2 month period of my life in terms of like hookups and girls I've had since my my time in Barcelona before meeting my one of my exes, the ex I had before my cancer. So like at some point I was it was a lot of girls at some point. It was like 5 girls that I was seeing. Not lying to any of them, not telling any of them I'm their boyfriend, not telling any of them they're exclusive, not telling any of them they're the only one, not even telling any of them I love you. All right, so don't try to paint me as a douchebag. I always kept it real. I always kept it honest. I don't want to lie. Um, and then there was one girl that I just liked more than the rest, and I just developed real feelings, and then I started just seeing her exclusively for the month of November, and she's the one that dumped me like 9 days ago. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, you guys seem so solid. Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of self awareness. Have you experienced self awareness being a turnoff with a lot of people in dating? No. Please elaborate on that context. How would that be a turnoff? I think the people that I'm looking for would like self awareness and would react positively to self awareness. If a person that I'm dating does not appreciate my self awareness or views it as a negative, then that's a very clear sign that they're not a good match with me. Your new job did not work out? No, it did. It did. I'm still doing it. I've been doing it. Yeah. I remember when you met the homeless guy on your walk. Yeah, Common sense. You're a real. I love people like you, man. Like you really watch the content, like every video I put up. I'm gonna be real. You are like it's only a few of you, and people like you is the people that keep me going. Like without you, I'm not sitting here doing this today. So I hope you understand that. I really appreciate you. That's awesome. Yeah, yeah. I remember every video I ever did. So you bringing that up is like that's the video. That video has like that could maybe like 320 views in a year and a half. You know, yeah. Appreciate you. Hello again. 2 lives in 2 days. Hell yeah, girl. We're getting it. Have you seen the movie Soul? It touches on the subject of having a purpose in the life that I thought was very interesting. I have not seen it. You should check it out. I'm an OG. You are an OG. Contact. Here in the USA, I can't hold woman's attention and always get ghosted, superficial small talk as my thing. I'm thinking being insightful scares people. Man, I'm about to offend like 70% of my audience. But I've never been one to bite my tongue, have I now? Uh, yeah, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. Young current people in their 20s in the US are kind of fucked. Like I've met a bunch of them in my time here in Mexico City. Obviously, this is close to the US. A lot of them come here. I cannot connect with them, and they're just like, I don't really want to have anything to do with them. Like I'm generalizing. I'm sure there's, not all. It's not all bad. Like actually, one of my best friends, this guy called Dave. He's American, so and he's from the West Coast. So it's not like all of them, but he's also in his 30s. So um, yeah, I just thought like the generation of people in the states that really grew up with social media, uh, they just operate on passive aggressiveness and awkwardness. I would say those are the two main traits I would um, I would categorize them as. So I don't think it's necessarily you. I just find that people in their 20s in the US are having such a hard, they're so focused on, how do I even begin to describe this? It's like their brain is like a social media feed. And you can tell in the way they think and talk. And like they think everything is weird and creepy and they're just awkward. And they'll never tell you straight up. They'll always like exude this passive aggressive energy, like, okay, uh-huh. Oh wow, really? Like they're just like they're not real people. They're just weird as fuck. Um, and I kind of hate them. I mean, I don't hate them. It's just I just cannot bond with them. I cannot connect with them. They're very pragmatic and fake in my experience. And yeah, it's crazy because I used to idolize American people honestly for the majority of my life. But and again, it's not all Americans. I would specifically say it's like people in their 20s right now. They're just kind of yeah. It's impossible to have like any type of direct conversation with them. They'll just revert to making it weird or making it look like you're weird or you're awkward or you're whatever. And it's like they just don't know how to communicate. That's my 2 cents. Oof, it's a good thing I'm talking about this at the end of the life. Bum bum bum. My friends in other countries swear to me it's a USA problem. I can't see outside this box. Yeah, yeah, yes. They are correct. They are correct. That's funny. I hadn't even read that, but it's yeah, it's US has gone downhill, man. It takes a long time to become self-aware. It took me a long time to get to this conclusion. I'm so grateful I learned my lesson. A lot of hard work, I mean. You can't even get them to look you in the eye. Yeah, of course, because they're so used to this. They're like, yeah, like that's all they do. When you're like right there, they're like, ah, it's weird. They think it's like they freak out. They probably think you're old, but you're not. Yeah, yeah. ever considered coming to Brazil? I went to Brazil. I want to go back. I just never want to go to Rio de Janeiro again. I had a terrible experience in Rio de Janeiro. Go check out my video. Go put Wounded Viking superficial city. Put that in YouTube and you'll find a video I did in Rio de Janeiro about Rio de Janeiro. I had a terrible experience. People treated me like shit there. There's a city in Mato Grosso do Sul called Bonito. I think it would be a great place for your channel. Okay, Mato Grosso. Wait, I'm gonna put it in my. I'm getting a state. Mato Grosso do Sul. That's it, right? Oh, Bonito. All right, I'll check it out. They won't treat you badly here. Okay, Matthias, appreciate that, buddy. It's kind of like the Amazon. Okay, appreciate that. I'm gonna check it out. All right, guys, that was intense. I gave you all of me, and now my emotional battery is kind of drained. Hit the thumb if you haven't yet. Feel free to click on the dollar sign below the chat box to buy me a coffee. Send over $1. That was a great live. It definitely was, and in part due to your question, AD Jack. This was by far my best live in like at least fucking 2 years. Easy, easy. Got amazing advice. Thank you. Yeah, I hope this one is gonna get a lot of views because it's just gotta think of the clickbaity title. All right, guys. Oh, I'm so tired right now. I'm so tired. Like when I'm going on these, like I'm like firing out on all cylinders, but we're like 52 minutes in, and I am exhausted. I'll try to come back. There's not going to be a live on Wednesday and Thursday, but there will be a live on Friday if everything goes to plan. That's my email, lorenz.dries@gmail.com. If anybody wants to work with me and hire me as your mentor or coach, life coach, you let me know. All right, send me an email. As a truck driver in his 20s, your views on the US are spot on. Ka-ching! Man, I love it when people tell me I'm right. I appreciate you, watcher. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like, I don't want anyone to think I'm trying to, like, listen to the way I talk. You cannot find a more American, non-American than me. Like I live and breathe American culture in so many ways. So it's like I'm the last person to shit on the US for no reason. It's just that, yeah, and it's just that the country is not in a good state, mainly because the current generation of young people is just fucked. Like they're just like, yeah, something's wrong with it, man. Passive aggressively awkward. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back real soon. Hit the thumb up if you haven't yet. For all the people watching these lives delayed, ask me questions that you want me to tackle in the next live. So I'll read the comments and I'll begin my next live by addressing those next questions. Elizabeth, I'm just leaving. Make sure to watch this live, though. It was a gem. It was a gem. Thank you, guys. Have a beautiful day. Peace out.